Okay, hi guys. So after we proving the the first basically 1 to 4 isomorphism theorem. So now we are able to say the general structure of finite. Basically write down the very general structure of the finite group. So the goal for the rest of few videos, several videos, is to prove so-called famous Jordan-Holder's theorem. So basically, this theorem just tell you that what's the general structure of the finite group. There are lots of things, but this is a very large picture, so a very general picture structure of a finite group. Okay, so Jordan-Holder's theorem basically will tell you that what's the general basically some sort of classification of finite group. But in order to do this, we need to have prepare lots of small facts, and we combine everything, right? So now the tool we have is 1 to 4 this isomorphism theorem, and then we have this exact sequence. So you can view these are basically the tool we have. Okay. So it's not so specific, but after that we will talking about the group action and something which will give you more specific. But for Jordan-Holder, it's a very large, very general results, and it's highly non-trivial. Okay, so to do this, we need to introduce an idea called the tower, basically a normal tower. Okay, so let me just write down something. So there's a lemma here. So this lemma say that if I have a group homomorphism from G to G prime, and if I take some normal subgroup G prime here, some normal subgroup H prime of G, it's a normal subgroup of G prime, and I can consider F inverse of H prime. Okay, so probably, right? So since F is group homomorphism, so this must be non-zero because it at least contains like identity. Okay, but more precisely, F inverse H prime should be understood as a because there are maybe some points which it doesn't touch, right? So technically it should be written as inverse image of F intersection with H prime. Okay, so or simply speaking, F inverse H prime is basically all the G in G such that F G in H prime. That's all. So you just ask what's the this is the pre-image. Okay, so claim is the following. Claims that let's say H defined to be F inverse H prime. So if H prime is normal in G prime, then implies that H is normal in G. Okay, proof. Okay, so this is somehow very very simple. So just write down a definition. So remember to prove this, we just need to show that GH inverse is a subset of G. Subset of GH inverse is a subset of H, or GH inverse is the same as H. These are the same. So we just compute F H G inverse, and we got FG, FH, FG inverse. So this is something in G prime, something in G prime. These are exactly H prime, right? H prime. So but H prime is normal. H prime is normal. So this is H prime. So this proves that right. So this proves that G inverse is subset of H prime. H. So finish the proof. Because this guy, it maps to H prime, right? So by definition is a subset of H. So this proves that H is normal in G. Okay. Okay. So this is the first result, and the second result. Okay. So now we have this. So now we want to have an. Okay, so this is the simple. This is a lemma, right? This is a simple lemma. So and we need another lemma. So I would say this is maybe the observation. So if you have a G mapped to G prime as before, if now, right? So maybe not. Okay, not this one. Let me just. That is fine. Okay. So now if I take a subgroup of H prime here is a normal, then I can construct the projective map. It's pi G prime quotient H prime. Okay. Now okay. So now if I see this composition, if I view this as a composition map, is a still group homomorphism. Then what's the kernel? So let's say this is phi map. So what's the kernel of phi? So obviously that the kernel of phi is G in G, where pi f G the same as H prime. And but this is f G H prime. So this is the same as f G belongs to H prime. So this is the same as G belongs to f inverse of H prime, which is exactly H. Okay. So the kernel of phi is just H. This proof is very simple. You should just write down step by step, right? Because pi circle f G, because pi is just mapping any G prime to G prime H prime, right? So pi of circle f will be FG H prime, and FG H prime equals H prime is the same as FG belongs to H prime. Then become like G belongs to F inverse H prime. Okay, so this is exactly H. Okay, so by the isomorphism theorem, so that I have the following. I have the G quotient, the kernel H, will isomorphic to image of something, image of phi. I mean, I don't know what is it, but it's a normal but it's a subgroup of G prime divided by H prime. So simply speaking, we have the following injection. So this is injective. Okay, so G quotient H will be subgroup of G prime quotient H prime. So this is the first result. Basically, this observation tells you that whenever you have this kind, whenever you have a, let me just write down. Whenever you have this kind of thing, you have a subgroup, normal subgroup of H prime, then there will be some preimage H, such that FH will become H prime. Moreover, that this guy's normal subgroup and its quotient G quotient H will be subgroup of G prime divided by H prime. Okay. So whenever you have this kind of diagrams, then you can construct H here by using preimage. Then you have this injective map. And moreover, if f is surjective, then this map is let's call it S bar. So f bar from G quotient H to G prime quotient H prime will be surjective. Will become a surjective. Okay, so this means that if this is original map is surjective, then the results will be surjective. Okay, to prove this will be somehow complicated a little bit. So let me just write down the standard idea. So we can write down the exact sequence like this. So this is injective, this is surjective, it's called pi, G quotient H, 0, and this is G prime, right? So you have F, and then we can restrict F as a, so since you can view H is a subgroup of G, right? So this is exactly F, and you get H prime. Now you can construct G prime quotient H prime like this, and this is surjective, and this is F bar. Okay, so from this, okay, probably not easy to see, but actually this diagram commutes by definition because this is just simple restriction. And for this one, that actually is also commutative. It's also commutative. For this one. Okay, so for this one, it's just what we construct. And for this one, that yeah, basically I think one can easily show it's basically commutative, but that okay. So we can try. Suppose we start with G here, and this will be FG, right? So this map to FG H prime, right? And so this is this direction, and above direction will be GH F bar, okay? So this is the so remember what we construct is using the isomorphism theorem, right? So isomorphism theorem F bar defined on GH is the same as defined FG, right? Probably you guys probably you already forgot, but okay. So let me just recall the isomorphism theorem, the first isomorphism theorem. Okay. So first isomorphism theorem says that if I have a G to G prime F, right, and if there is a subgroup here, let's say G quotient H. Let's say that if let's say kernel F is H, then by the first isomorphism theorem there will be something here, and this guy, right, this G map to GH is FGH, this F bar from GH will just be defined as a FG. Okay, good. Okay, so from this picture, this guy, it's kernel, right? It's kernel. If you see previous, if you see this video, this kernel, this whole map phi, this kernel phi from G to G prime to G prime quotient H prime is exactly H. Okay. So now this F bar is exactly this guy. Okay, it's exactly this guy. So this F bar satisfies this, right? So it maps to G quotient H to f of G, So now we use a first isomorphism to the G quotient H prime. So let me just maybe I write it as this. Let's say G to G prime divided by H prime. So the kernel of this map phi is H. Okay, and this guy's oh, sorry. Let me just redo it again. Sorry, terrible. Use this one. And so this whole map phi has a kernel H. So by the isomorphism theorem, I have G quotient H, and this map here is our F bar. So this is GH, and F bar GH by this isomorphism theorem should be defined as phi of G, right? Phi of G, which is this is F, right? So this is F of G, and this is F of GH prime. So it's defined to be F of GH prime, which is exactly F of G, and which is exactly this. Right. So if you go to, if you use this L curve or this L shape, is the same as this shape by this F bar construction. Okay, so terrible. Okay, so this means that this diagram commutes. Okay, so let me just draw it again. So this diagram commutes. What the hell? Okay, so by this construction, this diagram commutes. Okay, and right, so this diagram commutes every F bar. Okay, so if F is surjective, then this will make this diagram, this shape surjective, because this is already surjective, right? But if this is surjective, then composition with two surjective map will be surjective. So this will be surjective. But if this is surjective and the right hand and another directions, this one is already surjective, so these directions must be surjective. This is easy to prove. It's easy to prove that if you have two maps, right? This guy is surjective, then whole total is surjective. And if this is the same as another two maps, this one is surjective, then this one must be surjective. Also, this one is surjective. Okay, nice. So this proves that yeah. So this is a lemma that we will use later. Okay, maybe we stop here.